Hi, I'm Sharon Guskin. I'm going to read a bit from my novel, The Forgetting Time. And in the section I'm going to read just now, it's fairly early on in the book, so you don't need to know too much about it. But basically, Janie is a single mom, and her son Noah is 4. And in this particular part, she's an architect, and she's been working, and she's called. She gets that call that no mother ever wants to get from the director of the preschool, saying you must come right away. She can't just speak about it over the phone, but there's something wrong, and you have to come right away to talk to me about your son. So that's pretty much the setup, and here we go. "Thank you for coming in," the other woman said, clearing her throat, "on such short notice." Janie kept her voice level. "So what's this about?" A pause ensued, in which Janie tried to keep her breathing as steady as possible, in which she heard every tick of the preschool's beating heart, the sound of a faucet in the art room, a teacher singing, clean up, everybody clean up," a child somewhere, not hers, screaming. Miss Whittaker lifted her head, focusing on a spot slightly to the left of Janie's shoulder. "Noah has been talking to us about guns." So that's what this was all about? Something Noah had said? But that was easy. She felt the tension in her body begin to relax. Don't all little boys do that? "He's been saying he's played with guns." "He was probably talking about a Nerf gun," Janie said, and Miss Whittaker glanced at her. There was something hard in her eyes. "An A.J. Aubrey 12-gauge shotgun is what he said, to be exact. He said the gunpowder smelled like rotten eggs." She felt a flicker of pride. Her son knew things. This had always been the case with Noah. Some quirk in his brain, like the brains of savants. Only instead of numerical equations, he knew random facts he must have overheard somewhere. Was Einstein's brain like this? Was James Joyce's? Perhaps they too had been misunderstood as children. But meanwhile, there was the matter of what to say to this woman who sat glowering at her across the table. I don't know where he gets this stuff, really. I'll tell him not to talk about guns." "You're trying to tell me you don't know where he used a gun? Or how he knows that it smells like sulfur?" "He didn't use a gun," she said patiently. "And as for sulfur, I don't know. He says funny things sometimes." "So you deny it?" She wouldn't look at Janie. "Maybe he saw something on television." "He's been watching television, has he?" This woman. "He watches Diego and Dora and SpongeBob and baseball games. Maybe they had an ad on ESPN for hunting or something. There's another thing. Noah has been talking a great deal about the Harry Potter books. Yet, according to you, you haven't read them to him or shown him the movies." "That's true. And yet he seems to know them extremely well. He's been going around saying some sort of killing spell." "Look, it's just how Noah is. He says all kinds of things." She shifted her legs. Her butt was going numb in the tiny chair. She'd cut the Galloway visit short. Mrs. Galloway was probably calling all her friends right this minute to tell everyone she was wrong. She couldn't recommend Jane Zimmerman architecture after all. She was losing clients because of this nonsense. "So that's why you called me in here from an important business meeting? Because you think my little boy talks too much about guns and Harry Potter?" "No." She shuffled some papers on her desk, ran a knobby, beringed hand through her silver hair. "We were having a discussion about discipline today at school. There was a biting incident, but never mind about that. We discussed our rules, how hurting each other is never acceptable. Noah offered, on his own, that he was once underwater so long that he blacked out. He actually used the words blacked out. A strange word choice for a 4-year-old, wouldn't you think?" "He said he blacked out?" "Miss Zimmerman, I'm sorry, but I have to ask you." Her eyes, finally focused on Janie's, were pinpricks of cold fury. Have you ever held your son's head under water until he passed out?